All right, here we go. We are live. Minimal technical difficulties. Uh, I still am a little sick. It appears like I got either bronchitis, pneumonia. The guy's down there telling me I'm supposed to take myself to the doctor. My wife's telling me that. But we're going to rock and roll. We're going to talk Finns, free agency. I got Abel, Cody, and the man, Dirk the Daring from the frozen wastelands. We're going to chat about this free agency. I think it's really interesting. I think Grier's done a good job, but I think people are sort of missing some things. There was no way that even the best GM would be able to turn this team around with the money they had in free agency. I think that there is maybe some misses, obviously, with the Eichenberg and Coleman and all that stuff. And, but overall, I think he's done what he can do to fill in the holes, lots of holes. And it's going to come down to the draft. But even still, I don't know if there's enough ammo this season to get where a lot of fans are hoping, where you can get to the postseason and make hay and do damage. So we're going to go over to free agency. Me personally, I like most of it. I don't like Grier. I think he's inept. But, there's some solid moves in there. But we've got a lot of holes to fill. So, it's one step forward, maybe two steps back. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll talk about that tonight, whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's kick it off. I normally would like to go to my man Cody, but Abel's got the hat on tonight. He's celebrating St. Patty's Day, so we're going to do some St. Patty's Day talk with Abel. It's a little bit of jaded Finn fans days. What do you think about what we're doing with this team? What picks do you free agent additions do you like, and what free agent additions you don't like, and what's your overall view?
Oh, all right. So yeah, Curtis. I was just kind of talking to you. This was before Dirk got in. Like Dirk, I like always watching your channel and going to your stuff because you're still so optimistic right now. And ever since like the season's ended, I've told you guys, nah, I'm done. Like this is done. Like what's happening? And but Curtis always says we have to evaluate. And what you had just said to your point, with the money that Grier had and the signings that he's done, they're of course obviously nothing flashy or nothing like that, but they are good signings. Which we got to fill out the team and the roster. I will say that the Stonehead signing puts the burden of us re-signing Liam not as bad. So it's just little things like that where we sign a punter and it's like, wow, like obviously we're not thinking like it's not gonna maybe account for so many wins, but it's something where okay, at least we got our head on right here where we made a better signing. And I think that's something that was good at towards the very end, or one of the latest things that's happened.
Hold on a second, guys. I'm gonna link to. I guess. Yeah, keep going, man. Because I got a multitasking, which is not really my hot to trot thing over here. Keep talking. Keep talking.
What do you think, Cody? You were second in the room today.
Well, I guess I'm really excited we got a punter. I love a punter with long hair. I think punters with long hair are categorically better punters than punters with short hair. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's some value signings and some pieces that nothing splashy, but pieces we need: a tall physical receiver, a blocking tight end, a new punter, definitely a guard. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what Grier's future looks like. I'm still reading the tea leaves of all these signings. None of it says urgency win now. None of it says he's on the hot seat. If anything, it says he's just kind of doing like Curtis had a little slow, soft rebuild. And I would assume we're going to go real heavy trenches in the draft and go with the youth movement. But, there's still a lot of free agency left and a lot of mid-tier players that Grier can still poach. So I'm waiting and seeing still here.
Hey, Captain D, welcome aboard. Good to have you here for the first time. We've been sharing the airwaves over at Tom's Mafia Sports Report. Occasionally on my channel once in a while, but for the most part, it's great seeing you, Captain D.
Good seeing you too, Curtis, and hello to everybody. Thank you for having me on.
Without
Captain D.
Hey, Dirk, you got some feedback coming your way, brother. Is there like it sounds like Morse code or something like that? There you go. That sounds better. Brother. So, Captain D, we'll kick it off there. We heard, Cody and Eagle a little bit. You just kind of came on. They're kind of saying, look, we needed ammo. I think we did pretty decent with our free agency, but it's like having 10 holes in the dike and you only got 4 fingers. You might be doing a great job with those 4 fingers, but there's many more holes to fill. So, what do you think about where we're headed?
I don't know. I'm left with scratching my head a little bit. Obviously, Zach Wilson is definitely a head scratcher. He's one of the top 5 paid backup quarterbacks now. And if you look at the statistics on Zach Wilson throughout the years, there's enough tape and stats to show that, obviously he hasn't been quite successful. Based off of, I don't know if they had a conversation in Denver. The conversations were well to that. A lot of people were talking well of Zach Wilson, but I just hope that this seems like it's kind of like a project that this is turning into for Mike McDaniel to see if he can resurrect Zach Wilson's career. But let's see.
We like projects, don't we? We like injured players, and we like projects, and we like the lost puppies like Eichenberg and Jackson. We love those guys. So, Doug. I'm sorry. Keep going, brother.
Also the re-signing of Eichenberg, that was a little surprising.
Blew your head back, huh? Yeah.
But when I sat back and really thought about it, I was like, okay, well, he can play multiple positions. Can he play at a starting level? No, and I think this is going to be more for depth. And he can't play multiple positions. He can play the center. We had him at left tackle before as a rookie, and he's filled in most of last year as a guard. So I kind of get where they're going with it as a solid backup. We signed James Daniels. He's coming off of an Achilles surgery. That's a huge question mark going forward. I think the Dolphins, I'll go into more on what I'm thinking they should draft at, but clearly there's still a lot of question marks on the offensive line.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. Anyway, Dirk, I hate to be the bad guy, but we're hearing you breathe deeply over there, and it's kind of seeming like there's like a buzzing. No, you don't hear that? You don't hear it buzzing? Yeah, now it's gone. Now it's back. Now it's gone. Now it's back.
I think it's you, Curtis.
Is it me?
Yeah, I don't hear a thing.
Yeah,
Really?
I hear it. I've been playing Super Metroid all day, so it kind of sounds like Super Metroid background music.
It's me, man. It could be, though. Could be. So some people feel weird. I'm going to read in Dad's little quote comment over here. Some people feel kind of a way about Aziz signing with Eagles for $4 million. That's an Eagle price, not a Dolphins price. What's the deal with that? Anybody know anything about what's the deal?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Explain that, Dad. I'm sorry. I've been I was out all day shopping, so and going to try and get myself better over here.
People are saying that he wouldn't have come to. I think he's saying he wouldn't have come to Miami for $4 million. I think he would have wanted more to be here.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, I think he kind of took that deal thinking he could have a run at a Super Bowl. So that's kind of what
Smart
I'm thinking.
move. Yeah, well, if you got a guy who really wants to win, and who are you going to choose, the Dolphins or the Eagles? I mean, there's a lot of feelings that McDaniel and Grier might be on the way out, so you don't want to go to a whole rebuild. So yeah, it's probably fair. Hey, Jankety Jim, man, what's going on? Thank you for showing up to my crazy little podcast over here. I appreciate that with the guys. They're keeping me sane. Zach Wilson can move better than 2 at least. Right? Yeah, he can, and he's got a gun. But so this whole system is predicated on quick release or quick processing to get the ball out. So I don't know how he does fit into it. I mean, look, if you go back, this is a Shanahan-based system. And you go back to Elway, you go back to Jake the Snake Plumber. They like guys that can get on the move. And so maybe they could build something out of that old, Shanahan West Coast style. So I don't know. It's a long shot. He seemed to have a better batting average with like other people's mothers than he has had with on the field victories. So I don't know. I mean, I would have chose somebody different. I would have gone a different path. But if they make it happen, then they're superstars. Maybe they're in that mode where they're so desperate and they're in such a hole they got to hit something out of the park. And this is the only option they felt like maybe this is where they could just knock it out of the park and look like winners, So I don't know. I just think there's a lot on the table here. There's a lot of heavy lifting there that needs to be done. I think there's more than they or almost anybody can lift if they're talking about winning something substantial this year. I don't think it's that way. I think Grier and McDaniel have 2 years. And so I think you have to kind of see it like that. I don't think Ross is – if he didn't want to get rid of Grier this year, does he think he's going to get rid of him at the end of this coming season? The guy's going to be almost 90. Is he going to like flip the whole table over and bring in a whole new crew and get to use the whole new team and dealing with people? I don't know. It seems like they're going to ride with these guys until he's out. He'll be like, almost 88 maybe in 2 more years.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to pass it off to his daughter. Maybe he's hoping for one kind of miracle 2-year roll of the dice or something. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm wondering the upside for Zach Wilson. It's a 1-year deal. Is that correct? So he has a great year. Say somehow it was, New York's fault and he looks good. He's a free agent next year. Like, what did we gain besides we had a year of his services? Like, is there anything we gained if we turn him around, or is he just going to cost more money and someone else is going to want him? Like, is there a comp pick? I mean, because he's not ready. He's not the ready backup that you need. So I just wonder what the upside is with him.
Well, Michael Pulsick has a great one. To play McDaniel's offense, you have to be a Capricorn born on Wednesday after 4 p.m. in 3 certain states, and your parents must be vegetarian. That's a great one, dude. That is a great one. That's a great one. Hey, Dylan, what's going on, man? That's a great one. I like that one a ton. McDaniel scouted Wilson when he scouted Trey Lance, same draft. He wanted him, but he went at number 2 and picked one before them. Both have seemed kind of like, but to be fair, Wilson's slightly better than Trey Lance. But that's a good point. Maybe McDaniel sees something. Maybe, I think McDaniel's in a little bit of he understands that he's the first man to fall. And, if he can kind of get some Zach Wilson to play well, even if Tua plays well, and he does with both of them, and he gets something, it can really like save his career, maybe here or elsewhere. So I don't know. Well, maybe. I mean, the kid can move. He's got a gun. There's been glimpses. Yeah. It's just a consistency, So let's go through like the free agent. What's your guy's favorite free agent so far? For me, I think that Ashley Davis is a darn good addition. Nick Westbrook, he's perfect for what we need. He has the blocking. He's a big guy. Kind of offsets our Smurfs. Pharaoh Brown, I like. Obviously Daniels is a guy you gotta like, but I'm still a little concerned. I mean, coming off an Achilles tendon injury is not always easy. I think clearly, he'll be something next year, but how much will he be this year? I don't know. But I mean, if he's totally healthy, he'd be my favorite. But those are probably my 4 favorite. What about you guys?
For me, it's got to be. It's a group of people. It's everything that we're doing right now to address our inefficiency in the goal line situations.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at the free agency picks that we've made, they're not splash plays. They're not huge signings, but these guys are goal line players. You look at Pharaoh Brown and you look at Madison and you look at Akine, even with his height. I mean, we're getting players that, number one, they have an attitude. And that's something that we desperately need to address here on this team is identity. And I keep preaching about it all the time. Is identity is important because that's how you change a team attitude. Well, this is what they're doing. They're finding players that have that attitude and play well in goal line situations. We were next, what were we, 5th or 6th in the towards the back of the league in goal line?
Oh, we were terrible. I think it was 3rd and 3 in the A and B gap. We had 19 carries for 19 yards.
Yeah, like I mean, this is I'm impressed with that, and I like the way that they're addressing this issue, the short yardage, the goal line, and like I said, if they can just kind of continue with doing something else other than Liam, I think that we'd be
Do you think
looking
there's
in
a
a good
shot that
direction.
Liam's going to be a starting guard?
No chance.
You don't think
No
so?
chance. No.
I don't know. With this team, nothing surprises us anymore.
No.
Please God, no.
maybe that's just me hoping, but man, I'll
Right
vote.
now, he is. I mean, who else would you have starting at guard?
At left guard though, right? We're talking about that's Liam's new spot. Would be left
Yeah,
guard.
maybe. Daniels is a right guard. You'll probably put him there.
Play Borum. I don't know anything about him. Play Borum over him.
They were talking about moving Borum to guard anyway. Man.
Yeah, he's got to. He can't play tackle.
Yeah, he's just not built for it. I think that. I mean, even if it comes to that, if it's going to be Liam Eichenberg starting, over somebody else, they just need to plug in whoever they get in the draft. I don't even care. It can't be worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Depends. If you draft Kinley 2.0, you never know.
Do we know the details on his contract? How much Eichenberg got paid yet? Did that get figured out?
they were
What
saying
happened?
they were saying that he initially they said $4.2 million on a 1-year contract, and then
Oh, if that's the case, he's starting.
No,
But I don't know if it's true or not.
no, they kind of recanted, and now I'm hearing $1.2 million for a 1 year, but it's still not. It's not on Spot Track, and it's not on Over the Cap.
Yeah, why is the delay? What's with the delay of this thing? It's like,
I don't know.
it's like we're waiting to find out if Fort Knox has got gold or something. It's like the same thing, just dragging and dragging out. It's like, what's going on with this? Some people are saying they're doing that to kind of like slow roll the reality. They paid for this guy. if they paid over $2 million for this guy or $3 million, that's kind of scary. But we'll see. We'll see.
Bring in some competition. A chance. If you want, you already signed him. Give him a chance at competing for a backup spot. But the scary thing is, if he's on our team, however deep he is, he's going to see the field. That's the way our offensive line works. That's the way things have been going in Miami. And if you have somebody that bad on your squad, what are you even doing? What's the point,
yeah. What? And think about it. Why would you even drag out all these years with this guy? You could have picked up anybody. You just don't want to let go, man. I didn't make a mistake. It was good. You'll see. He just took time. He took time. You see, he was a good player. It took time. What do you think, Captain D?
A little unsettling, to be honest with you. I think you touched it earlier on. There's a lot of holes to fill. We're still not settled on left tackle with Teron Armstead. Yes, we have a young Patrick Paul.
You think Teron's coming back?
No, I don't think Teron's
I don't
coming back. I don't. I think he's waiting to possibly see what additions the Dolphins are gonna make. But his body's not holding up. I think he was done since last year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he played it out. But we're gonna be relying on Patrick Paul, a second-year left tackle that has not proven himself yet. We bring in James Daniels, which is a great addition, but he had he's coming off an Achilles injury, so it's a huge
That's
question
scary.
mark right there. Pharaoh Brown is a good pickup in the run game and blocking, but there's a lot of question marks in the trenches. We still not have addressed the defensive tackle position. And yes, we're waiting for pieces to fall and, players. We still have the draft and we still have training camp and some guys will be cut, but there's still glaring issues that the Dolphins haven't addressed and not even cornerback either.
Yeah, they added, what was it, Artie Burns? That's not terrible. It's better than, who do we have with the Fangio? I can't remember that guy's name. He was with the Bengals. What was his name?
Eli Apple.
Yeah, Eli. It's better than Eli Apple,
Oh yeah.
I think Grier's gonna. I mean, he's kind of almost forced to kind of rely a little bit on Cam Smith. I think he's going to draft. I don't think he's going to draft an offensive lineman until third round, a conditional pick, or maybe fourth. I don't think all lines coming off the board for us in the first 2 rounds. What do you guys think?
Then we need another guard. Then we need I don't know if Brandon.
You got Eichenberg, dude. Wait, no. We got Eichenberg. Remember, GMs came up to Chris Grier and said, "What? Eichenberg's out." Man, he was playing really good for you. That sucks.
He's a
Yeah.
monster.
He's up.
I think the Dolphins should trade out of the 13th pick.
Oh,
Um,
definitely, yeah.
trade out of the pick, and try and obtain. We have a pick in the first 3 rounds, and try and get some more, at least in the third round. I mean, depending on where these quarterbacks fall, I think the Dolphins are. I don't think Cam Ward is going to fall um, out of the top 5, but Shador Sanders definitely might, and I say might because if he does, that could be an opportunity for a team to jump into the 13th pick and possibly want to trade out with the Dolphins to get some more picks. And I think the Dolphins should move back in the late first round, possibly look at a corner or a defensive tackle, and then in the second round, they should draft an offensive guard and um,
Yeah, but they're
take.
not. I don't think they're going. I think going DB round 1 and maybe like DT round 2.
Yeah.
Right. The only caveat to that, I'd say, because that's a good point, Captain D, and I know Dirk's on that train too, where it's like, hey, let's grow back, but I don't know. We know how Grier does with his picks, where
Greer's going to Grier.
right, those middle picks, he
Yep.
never hits on them. So I mean, at least with last year was Chop. I mean, everybody was feeling that he reached for it, but it wound up being a pretty good pick as of right now.
Yeah.
I would only say let's move down. If maybe we're gonna get someone like one of the safeties, like Imanwari or Starks, if they're still gonna be there for us in those later picks in the 20s. But I don't know, because going back to your question, Curtis, you had said, hey, what do you think is the best free agent signing that we had? I would say ask that question again once we get to week 12 or week 15 in the season, and let's see if James Daniels is still around. Because if he's still around and on that line, I mean, that's going to be okay. Like, that's great. But I mean, I would want Grier to say, hey, let's double down. And we've been talking about it for weeks. Let's, address the line. Address the line, O line and D line, and get someone like that in our 13th pick.
Let's answer. I agree on that. Let's answer Eddie's little question here. Quick question: what specific skill set do these free agents bring that were lacking in the previous roster? I think there's some things definitely. I mean, you look at Farrell Brown. Farrell Brown is a big addition. He's way better than Smythe. So I think that's just definitely one. Dotson's, we had him last year. Westbrook, he's a big guy. We lacked size at our receiver group. I like Washington, and he can block. Anything else you guys think out there that some of these guys bring that maybe missing?
I answered it a little bit in the chat too. I really feel like it's the intangible.
If you Melfoy, I can't never gonna say that.
You got it, Curtis.
Ifitu Melifan Wow. No, forget it.
Melifonwu.
He's got some talent, but again, but that was a broken jaw. That's a freak thing. I don't think that's something that you should really worry about. But he's got talent. I don't know if he's a starter.
Go for it, Dirk. I know Dirk likes talking about these dogs that we have now.
That's just everybody else likes to talk about it, and I'm not saying they're.
Can't hear him.
No,
how's that, Hunt? Dirk, go, brother.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Weird. Everybody says that that dogs are something we've needed.
I hear him.
I can hear him.
Okay.
Go for it.
So,
I can't hear you.
All right.
Go
So in the end of last year, everybody's
on.
talking about we need dogs. We need people with a mentality to not quit and not give up and fight hard. And now they've done some things here in this free agency period where they've actually signed some guys that have that mentality where they don't give up and they got that attitude where if you screw with them, they're going to pick a fight. And we've needed that on our team. Everybody complained about it. Up and down, everybody did. And no one's mentioned looking at this free agency, these guys are dogs. So the biggest thing I've noticed in this free agency class is the intangible that we've picked up on this team. More people with that attitude where they're going to fight. And I just, like I said, I'm not speaking for talent. I'm not speaking for, this guy's better than that guy. I don't know. But for now, I'm impressed with the fact that they're at least signing guys with an identity that could possibly affect the overall identity of this team. That's what I'm seeing.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
moved
one
you
thing.
from the bottom to the top, and then I could hear you.
Well,
I don't.
I
I
feel
don't understand
taller.
this technology. I don't understand this technology stuff, dude.
I feel taller now.
No,
Yeah,
Dirk nailed it.
I think that Eddie, you have to think of it two ways. So when you got pennies and peanuts, you're not going to find dogs. You know, we were playing with a small hand, and I don't like Grier. You're going to get your dogs in the draft. Now, if you had the money, you could probably find some in this free agency, but there was no money there because you had the worst case scenario. You needed tons of depth and you needed tons of starters. And there was no way. Look, I want to make fun of Chris Grier. I love making fun of Chris Grier. But when you go into a fight with 5 guys with submachine guns and you got a slingshot and you take one guy out, maybe you get killed, but you still got to say, "Whoa, that guy took one guy out with 5 Mac 10s and with the slingshot." And so there were some misses. There was the Eichenberg, there was the Carmen, maybe Madison's a miss. But there were a few nice rolls of the dice to fill up depth and add some toughness and maybe some character. But there wasn't really much opportunity because we're broke. Everyone keeps telling you there's no cap. There's no cap. You just add money. Just don't worry. It's 20. There is a cap, or else we would be buying guys right now. We can't. We're broke. We're broke this year. We're broke next year. So you added some nice guys, but you still got tons of depth to add. You still got tons of starters to add. And Grier's opportunity with all these picks that he has is to add 2 to 3 dogs in this draft. And if he doesn't do it, this team will wet the bed. So this was really about setting the foundation, trying to put some plaster of Paris on the many cracks in the foundation. And then, now the studs, the guys that drive the thing is supposed to come from this draft. And that's what's Grier's responsibilities. There's no way this team will get competent in 1 year. It's going to take 2 years. There's so many holes. There's so many issues. McDaniel's got to reset his nature as far as running this team and being an authoritarian and not, buddy. And then he's still going to do it with Hill still in control and still probably going to screw around. So it's going to take 2 years. Even if these were the right guys, and I don't know about McDaniel, but I definitely don't think Grier, it will take 2 years. And so I think for me, it's just checking the foundation. He did last year's free agency, aside from missing on the O-line and the backup quarterback, was good. But it's better than this year. He's not going to add a Campbell. That's like a 1 in a million roll of dice. He got very lucky with Brooks. There's none of those guys this year, I don't think. So it's going to really have to come through the draft. At least that's my take.
Yeah, I like re-signing Dotson. I like our linebackers, what they're looking like right now in terms of dogs. I watched some of Britt's highlights, and he just looks like a legit run stuffer that's going to bring the boom. So that's somebody we needed to stuff the run. But I think we brought in guys that are a little more physical, and that I really want to see this draft go down. And I think we're going to just go trenches. We're definitely going to get some secondary help right away, I think, but with all our fourths and fifths, I think we're going trenches. And I think what a good GM should do is start stockpiling this team with good trench players late in the draft. And it looks like we're gearing up to do that, but there's still, Grier can still Grier, but this hasn't been a Grier type offseason a little bit. I know he's hamstrung by money, so maybe that's it. Maybe Ross is saying, "Hey, bud, this is a little wait and see. We're not letting you just completely go out and put us in more debt." And I don't know Champ Kelly. I've been listening to Alf talk about Champ Kelly, and he thinks that this guy might be here to replace Grier soon. So that to me is really interesting. And if that's true, and right now Grier's kind of getting a little bit of a wet blanket put on all of his operations, a lot more eyeballs, a lot more check with me's, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So I'm hoping that's what's happening right now.
Anybody but Grier. Anybody but Grier. Bring Mo, Larry, and Curly in and get them drunk and let them run team. Anybody but Grier. Hey, Justin, thanks, brother. Yeah, I was supposed to get back to your team this week, but man, I got the bronchitis or pneumonia, so I'm getting there, bro. I appreciate that, though. But yeah, I appreciate that. This, that's the whole thing. I know that it's all fandom and stuff. You love to push a guy, other teams, team when they're down and stuff. And there's fun to that and all, but this is just a game and it's all people. So I really appreciate the sport, man. I do. And to me, it's like the game of football rises above the fandom of a team. It's the most beautiful sport ever created. There's nothing. I mean, if you've ever played chess or you've watched, war movies, this is it. This is like Roman, Greek heroes battling out. It's the greatest sport at every level. And I think that's the true beauty. And then the second level is, your fandom. So I'm going to get back to you, bro. I appreciate the sport. I really do, though. Oh, my audio screwed up. My audio screwed up.
Nope. Sounds good to me, but what's up, Steve?
Something's going on, man.
Steve
Maybe
Molly.
I'm too loud. Maybe I'm too loud. Thanks, Steve. What's going on? Hey, Steve. Oh, man, Steve, I forgot. I'm going to do a special thing. I'm on with Steve tomorrow. I got Darius coming on, and we're going to be doing a round table. I'm sorry, man. I'm sick. I'm gonna put out a special live little short to go. I'm going to be on with him tomorrow at 6:30 Central Time. I totally forgot. I was supposed to do it at the beginning of this thing. I totally forgot. I'm going to put out a podcast out tomorrow and make mention I'm going to be on. So, guys, check it out. Darius is so smart. He knows the game so much. And so it's going to be a great time. I had a great time with Greg the other day, 2 weeks ago, Steve and I and Greg. So come check us out tomorrow at 6:30 Central Time on Steve's channel. Right, Steve? And thanks for the audio check. I'm a jackass, dude. I need a handler, man. I really don't. I have a theory that Ross told Grier no restructure big extensions because he's tired of his – I don't know. I hope. I just want to see this guy gone. I'm so tired of him. So anyway, what do you guys else want to talk about, man? Bring it out. Break it out.
Bring back Nick Needham.
I'll say. Oh, my God.
What happened, brother?
He said bring back Nick Needham.
He was good until the injuries, man. He was good until the injuries. I enjoyed his play, man. He was a solid nickel, man.
What's wrong with Nick Needham? He's from UTEP, from El Paso. Well, he's from California, but he went to school here at El Paso and UTEP. So,
I was gonna say I like the previous statement that was made. I like the re-signing of Dotson. I mean, he was cut from the Seahawks. We picked him up and ended up leading the team with interceptions. So I like that. I like that signing of Dotson. I thought that was smart that they kicked the tires on him again, and let's see if he can continue with that. That was smart. Everything else, I think, was a little bit of a the KJ Britt. I mean, it was a swap.
I'm not big on that one.
Yeah, it was a swap for like Anthony Walker. I guess they're kind of the same production that they got.
Yeah, but he can't cover. Walker could cover at least.
Yeah,
Britt can't cover.
So
Walker
that was
had
a little bit of a
issues, though. I think this Britt guy's a thumper. I think he's a tone setter, and you're paying for somebody who's just going to be a thumper. He's not going to be out covering tight ends, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that would be Dotson's role.
Yeah,
coverage.
Curtis,
let Brooks do what he needs to do. If you have the middle on a run play taken care of with your middle linebacker, you can have Brooks and Dotson move all around, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I want Ogba back. Am I the only one that wants Ogba back here?
Yeah, but they say they were not able to pay for it. Yeah, I'm not, he's okay, but I think he wants more than what he's worth.
Yeah, he made enough money the other year when we signed into that big deal.
Yep.
Yeah, we need a DN. We need interiors. We got plenty of edge guys, and he's not. I don't think he can fit what we need. We need run stopper, interior presence. We need a DN who's in the 280, 290 range.
Yeah,
but a real DN. Like Odd was more of like that Jack kind of edge. Working for Flores' system, but he couldn't really stop the run too much. And he's a little bit older. We need DIs. Because right now we got Steeler as the 0-1, and you don't want that. So
Crazy.
we need like 2 to 3, because I think the Ravens, if we're still mimicking their defense, they usually have 4 to 5 D linemen, and we got 1. That's all we got right now. That's it.
I bet Benito's going to get brought back.
Oh, he's terrible though.
He's just fat, man. He looks the part. He looks like, that's an immovable fat dude right there, but he is not.
No, he's not strong. He doesn't have the power, He just doesn't. It's a big deal, to be able to handle 2 guys at once. And he's just a big guy, but he's terrible. I mean, you're going to feel the loss of Campbell. You're going to feel the loss of Campbell in a big way.
Is there some zeros in the draft? And I don't mean real high. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Is there anybody besides some of the top prospects, some zeros in the draft?
I think there's like 2 to 3. There's one guy, I can't remember his name. I like him. He's a late guy. He didn't do good in the combine, but I think there's one guy out there I kind of like. Something with the C, Caldwell maybe. Caldwell. Obviously, Grant I like, but we're never going to get him. But there's really not too many, those big zeros. It's very hard to find. It's very hard to find. That's why I thought we should have granted like a Lawrence over Wilkins. I thought Vea was a guy over Minka, but we just don't seem to like that type of stuff. But Eddie's right. I think Eddie's right. There's guys in those mid-rounds that you could find some really good players. The problem is Grier is terrible in the mid-rounds. Go check his history. Just go the Dolphins draft history and go back through and look at the mid-rounds. You can't find anything. So, I don't know. See. Oh, there's a power outage. We lost Dirk. That's usually me.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, but usually that's me losing the power and everything goes down. Look at the jackass. So I'm happy, Dirk. That's you this time, not me.
I mean,
sorry, brother. Sorry, somebody's got to get sacrificed.
Just a question to like switch gears. I don't know. Maybe you guys think it's real serious, or what do you guys think about how we lost one of our 7ths because they restructured? Supposedly, I know that Doug had mentioned something that it was something having to do with Cedric Wilson's contract, where there was something that was like voided in it or something, but that it wasn't our fault, and then that made us lose another 7th. Or maybe if any of you guys in the comments want to say anything about it, but
yeah, we signed, we cut him, but then we signed him back. I heard somebody said for somebody or whatever. I don't know. 7th round pick. I mean,
knowing our luck, that guy's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. That's true.
Brock Purdy.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I heard something. I don't know.
I think Raekwon signed with somebody.
What's going on? What happened?
I think Raekwon signed with somebody, right?
I think so. I don't know, but I don't want.
We need Calais, man. We need Calais so bad.
He's not Davis doesn't have any mobility. Once that knee got injured, he was a monster at that 0 until he got injured. The first game of the year against the Patriots, he was never the same after that.
That was sad.
Yeah, I was so excited for him. I think Calais, like Miami. Yeah, I think but I think he wants to go someplace to win now. I don't think he's coming back.
He doesn't like us. He wants to go to a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came here to help Weaver out. I think they had such a tight relationship that he wanted to help him set his career up here in Miami, so he came to help him out. But we're going to miss him tremendously as a leader and ability to dominate that defensive line. I don't really have any high hopes that any of the guys we have right now on the edge can dominate the D-line on both sides of the pass and run defense. Right now, it's only Sealer. He's the only one. The rest of the guys, Kamara, he struggles against the run. Chop struggles against the run. He can get better. Chubb can, but how healthy is he? I think he can stop. I think he'll be able to handle the run better than the pass, but I don't know how he's going to be as far as his burst and his explosion. And Phillips, I think he's going to take a while to get back. Who else do we got? Good. Yeah, we got good. And that's it. So we need to stop this run. That's what the league's about. It's not, smash mouth, but it's pass balance. So we need to stop this run. So we need guys that are balanced. They can either do both jobs, or at least they can get in there on these rundowns and be something there. So
Curtis,
yeah.
what are you thinking based on what you've seen, what they're doing in free agency? What do you think they're going to do with that pick? You think they're going to just do best player, or
No,
you
they're
think-
going to go. I think. Well, there's some people that talked about, hey, we went Cam Smith second round, you went Howard second round. Maybe they'll grab an interior guy, or take a flyer, maybe the linebacker Campbell or something like that in the first round. I don't think so. I think that they know they're totally screwed. They're going to try to go. I think they're going to try to go DB first round, whether it's Starks or it's Campbell, because I think one of those guys are going to definitely drop. So I think they're going to kind of go to the DB group, because once you get to that second round, yeah, you could say, oh, well, this guy will be here and that guy will be there, but you could say the same thing about Smith, but he's a big whiff. So I think Grier knows he's got to get this pass defense right. And I think he probably because there's no real, unless the one kid from Michigan drops to us somehow, a DI, Mason, then maybe we go DI and then DB. But I think it's definitely going to be either Starks or a cornerback in the first round, and then something else, maybe another edge player, or, a D end, or unless he decides to go Shamir Stewart, you never know with that too. You could go that route and then grab the DB. So
So you think they're picking? They're picking in the 13th pick. They're not.
Yeah, I think they would trade out. Is anyone going to offer? Is there going to be anybody there that someone's going to go, hey, I'm going to trade out? I don't know. It's just hard to say. I think if they're stuck there, that's what they're going to do. I think they probably would trade out. I think that's what they would probably do. Mason Graham. Thanks, man. My memory's not so best. Not resigning Deshaun Hand was a big screw up.
Yep.
Yeah. And the slim pickings on DT is, it's so hard to find these guys. That's why you didn't want to really kind of let Wilkins go. And if the thing is that, you probably should have drafted Lawrence. That's why I wanted Lawrence over Wilkins. But I was happy with Wilkins. I understood he fit, the mobility style of Flores. But when you get a guy like that, you don't let him go. And you're like, oh, I don't want to sell him for 24. Well, even if you add $6 million on, I mean, how many millions? You got $30 million in dead money. If you had been more cap conscious, you would have been no big deal. I mean, what, really? So why'd you draft the guy? Yeah, why'd you draft the guy? Well, he got injured this year. Nobody knew that. I mean, so don't draft him. Then keep Van Ginkel. Just keep somebody, you idiots.
Yeah.
Keep Hunt. What are you talking about? I don't know. We're screwed on this D line unless Grier does some miracles. But yeah, letting Deshaun Hand go is a big mistake. It's a big mistake. So what do you guys think we'll do with that pick? If we're stuck there. What do you think Grier's going to do? Think he's going to go offensive line, totally shock us, make us wet ourselves?
That'd be awesome.
I think
I
they're
don't know
going
if
to
the right
go.
guy will be there, though.
Yeah. I think corner, and then in the second round, I think they're going to go offensive line.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, thank you, D. You gave me some hope. I don't.
Yep.
I think Grier is. Dude, what I would have believed that, but once he brought back Carmen Jackson. Remember, he's like, we were screwed. We were stuck with guys like Carmen Jackson, and he brings them back and Eichenberg. I don't know. I think he's going to wait. I hope he does the second round.
I'm hoping.
That'd be great. The second round. Who would you like in the second round?
I like Tate Rutledge out of Georgia.
Oh yeah, but
that's who I like.
Oh, he's really good.
I think he should be available around that time, mid to second round, maybe early third round.
He hit the best 3-cone drill out there. They say he's real smart too.
Yeah, yep, I like him, but I don't know. They're probably not gonna. We'll see.
What about you, Abel? What do you think? Are you as positive as Captain D?
So I mean, I do follow what Captain D saying, where hey, we're probably gonna do something not stupid because there's holes everywhere, but kind of go on those boundary picks like safety, cornerback, maybe get Jahad Campbell. But I mean, going back to with the James Daniels signing, that's something where you know hey, is he going to be around, week 12, week 15, week 18 next year where, hey, or if we're going to lose him, God forbid, hope that doesn't happen, where, hey, there's a house of cards falling down again. And, we got Liam in there and we got Jackson Carmen in there. And it just takes one injury for us
That's
on
so
that O-line
true.
to totally derail everything because it always happens every year. So, I
Could
mean,
you
like I was
imagine
saying
that?
earlier in the show, and for anyone who hasn't, make sure that you've already liked and subscribed. Let's help our boy Curtis here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that too. I forgot about Steve's show, my show tomorrow, and I forgot about that. Yeah, please like, subscribe. Thank you. Thank you.
But I mean, we trenches. There's so many good D linemen that could still fall into there in that pick at 13, or O line. If Membu's there, I mean, I doubt he's going to be there after what had happened at the combine. But I mean, for his screaming alone when he was running his 40-yard dash, how could you not want a guy like that in our team that is going to want to be there?
Oh,
But I'm just hoping it's either D line or O line.
could you imagine if Grier? I would literally rip my computer out and throw it against the wall if Membo was there and he just said, like, I'm drafting whoever. I would freak, dude. I don't need that. I have a car and everything. I would totally have a car and I would lose it, man. Then the podcast directly after that would be like rated X.
Go to your older podcast where you would get fired up.
Oh yeah, I know that wasn't good for my health. That wasn't good for my health.
What do you think, Cody? Where do you want to go with the pick? Or
Yeah, I'm not much of a draft guy, so I can't act like I understand who's going to be, and I haven't evaluated any players. I just want trenches. I want a whole system of young guys coming up in the trenches. D-line, O-line, some of them hit, some of them don't, but we're just pumping that system full every year instead of going, oh, here's an undrafted free agent. We're going to turn him into a center, and he's going to be like what, Andrew Meyer? Like that's our youth we're pumping up into the O-line, guys like Andrew Meyer. I want to flip that, spend 3rd through 5th, 6th picks just really restocking and just getting youth. That's the key to staying healthy, man, is a youthful trench. You find some studs that stay healthy, you keep re-signing them, but you just keep restocking the trenches. And that's really all I want us to do, man. That's it right there. Easier said than done if you're a Miami Dolphin fan, but do what Philly does. Just keep drafting them. Keep drafting them. You
got to. Yeah, that's the building block. I would do Gianti is going to be so good if he gets to the right team, man. I was watching a video on him and how basically they set it up where it's one-on-one in the run scheme, and he's unbelievable at breaking tackles. And you could see what Barkley did as far as the leverage, changing the leverage. This guy is truly, truly special. And I think he is good. If he just gets to the right team that has a marginal pass game and a pretty decent offensive line, I think this guy is smart. He's smart. He's a hard worker. He is strong. Oh, man, I hope this kid does well. I am so in love. It makes me feel like I'm back in the 80s again. He's 5'8" or 5'9" running back, man. Was he 220 or something like that? Oh, I love this kid.
Yeah. I just watched some old film of Lorenzo Neal lead blocking for Mike Allstott.
Oh, I can
And I'm
remember
like, that's my brand of football right there. If we could somehow recreate that, I'm okay with it.
Curtis, I have another question.
Hey, Dundee, man.
What up, Dundee?
Hold a second. For me, FBA solved a few roster problems, but it has given us flexibility not to have to chase key positions in draft. CB is the exception we need. Yeah. Well, that's what you got to do. I mean, you can't have blatant holes like, with Carmen Jackson and Eichenberg or Cam Smith. But yeah, I thought tight end was really good because you're not bound to grab a tight end. I think you still should grab one in the mid rounds if things fall right. I think that You got the running back. I'm not super high on him. It depends on, was it an off year? Is he hit the wall? Artie Burns, you got, is a nice little fill in there. I don't think he's great, but at least he's a guy you could probably keep as a 4 or 5. I think that's good. You draft a receiver. You got your free agent receiver. What's his name? Not Ashton Davis. What's his name? Nick Westbrook, which I think, he needs some size and he can block. It's good. You got Dotson, so you're not bound to getting a linebacker. Ashton Davis, I think, is definitely going to be one of your starting safeties. And even Ifitu Melifan Wow is a nice little back-end guy. And then, you got James Daniels coming off an Achilles, which is not good, but at least he's a guy, at least next year he'll be something. And even middle of the season, you got something. So I agree. You just had very little – you didn't have a lot of cards, So I agree. But the reality is this team's still far away. I think Grier did as much as he could, but this team is still very far away. And, the good news is you got a lot of picks. And if you draft well, then you're gonna be in a good spot. But Grier doesn't really draft well. And he usually if he drafts guys, it takes him a couple of years, quote unquote, until they're decent. So it's going to put a lot of onus on him to kind of hit his weak spot, So I agree. We just didn't have a lot of cards, and I don't think this team's in a place. I don't think this team's as good overall as it is last year. You still got the draft, and you still got to see how guys develop from last year. Right after contact there. The guy's unbelievable, man. I really think he's going to be special. You never know. The guy could go down, first snap or something like that. But I think that guy's a real good player. Something seems very special about him. What do you think about what Dundee said? Don't be bashful. You can tell him he doesn't know what he's talking about. I do it all the time. I'm not always right, but I tell him all the time. You don't know what you're talking about, Dundee. I know what I'm talking about. Then later on I'll say, I know what I'm talking about.
This goes.
Okay, twist my volunteer as tribute for OG. Yeah, right. I'll pack my bags out. Anything. I love Membo. Could you imagine we got Membo? I just don't think that's happening. I think he's going to San Fran.
It seems like it, doesn't it? That's a perfect fit for him. Perfect fit for us too. So.
Yeah, I think they.
I just want a Brandon Sheriff, or I don't even know who this Brunswick guy is, but I was hearing Alf talk about him.
Yeah, he likes
somebody else too. Like, there's 4 or 5 guys out there, 3 that are just solid players that we're not going to have to break the bank for. I just want to wake up tomorrow and hear we signed some of these solid guard options that have been in the league for a few years. I'll just feel a lot better.
I'm surprised the guy from Tavon Jenkins hasn't been signed. I wonder what's going on with that. I thought he'd be a guy who definitely got signed.
Yeah. There's guys out there. We're coming from nothing is the easy part. We're coming up from nothing right now at guard,
I'm going to answer Mr. Dundee's question. I don't agree. We tried to address certain things. Ashton Davis, is he going to be a starter? We'll see. We still got Elijah Campbell back there, who is primarily a special teams player. Ashton Davis did play some special teams also with the Jets. He did start some games. There's just a lot of question marks. I'm not going to attempt to. I haven't perfected his name yet. The gentleman that we got.
Oh, not like me, man. You don't got it down like me.
But
the Lions DB.
Yeah, the Lions. Yes. He had a lot of promise. He was drafted, I believe, in the 3rd round. He showed some promise, but he has just been, he's had the injury bug. We're hoping that he's going to, turn the page and be healthy for us. So that could be. There's just too many question marks, I would say, Mr. Dundee, to say that we've addressed most of everything in free agency. I just don't. There's still a lot of glaring holes on the offensive line and defensive line, and and at backup quarterback. I think that was a terrible move for the Dolphins to sign Zach Wilson and pay him that type of money.
I don't know how he fits. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't agree with that signing. That really made me think about that one. But we'll see. We'll see what with the draft, and we'll see what's coming up after training camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see.
I
Yeah,
think
Marcus
Zach
Williams
Wilson
would be nice.
and Tua are the exact opposite players.
Yeah.
Like they literally have if you could combine them, you'd have that off script power arm, mobility, and then you'd have the anticipation and all the heads up quarterbacking that Tua does. They're really just so different. And maybe that's Mike getting who he wants. Maybe Mike White and Skyler, maybe that wasn't a Mike McDaniel endorsed backup quarterback, and maybe this is Mike's guy. They always say that your boy Grier loves to just give his coaches who they want. Maybe this was a McDaniel guy, but I don't know. I watch him with the Jets, and I go, wow, that was rough. But I watched Darnold with the Jets, and that was rough. And he had a great year, but he turned back into Sam Darnold in the playoffs. So I don't know. I just think we made an upgrade, but we made an upgrade from Mike White and Skylar Thompson. So
yeah,
I mean,
the floor was really low there. We're screwed if Tua's not playing. Period.
I think his ceiling is a little bit higher. I mean, I know that he came from the Jets and he didn't play last year for the Broncos, but he's still young.
Yeah.
But I totally understand what you're saying, Captain D, where it's like, he doesn't. It's the same thing with Huntley. Huntley didn't fit our system at all, and I mean, we rolled him out there for those first couple of weeks, like against the Titans on Monday night, and it was bad. So, but I mean, he's going to have a whole off season, more or less with us, and I mean, it's not a matter of the question is when is Tua going to get hurt, because it's going to happen. So
don't you say that, Abel?
I mean, I don't want me, Cody. I don't want to say that, but I mean,
you get to the fat Tua talk. I've been hearing that a lot too last week.
That boy's getting big again. He's gonna get hurt this year. That boy thick. But I don't know.
Oh, keep going.
I don't think that Zach Wilson thing is. I guess I'll ask you, Captain. Like, who would you feel is would be a better competent backup QB that we should have signed?
I mean, most people probably won't agree with me, but I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's sitting down coaching high school football, and he's a great from what we're hearing, he's a great locker room presence. I think Joshua Dobbs would have been another good, signing, smart, good locker room presence. But I think what we're looking at with Zach Wilson is we see the intangibles. So if we were to go on the football field right now, he's going to slang the football around and be running around and look great. But when it's game time and the processing, and that's what they're going to try and fix. They're going to try and see if they can help him out with that during the games to see if he can, improve that way. But I think there was a couple other options that they could have. I know that we were last year. I think they were going after who's the Carolina backup. The Red Rifle, I forgot his name, Dalton. But I guess the money wasn't right, or I'm not too sure. But it was just a little surprising. But I get it. He's young. He's got all the tools. Let's see if they can harness that and maybe develop him.
You think Tua is awesome, huh?
We're gonna see a lot.
You think he's going back to thick Tua?
No, I don't think so. But we're going to see the fan base, the part that really wants Tua out of here, legitimately saying Zach Wilson's going to beat him out. And that's going to be fun to watch the people just realize how much Tua is better than Zach Wilson. But at least that's my opinion. There's already people saying Zach was brought here to eventually take Tua's job. And
they said that because they said that over Skylar. It's like there's a lot of clicks in that. There's a lot of clicks.
Jacoby, they said it over Brissett. Some guy told me Brissett would be starting week 4. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
We can all admit that we're probably not winning the Super Bowl this year. Can we all kind of agree on that maybe right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean that's probably not likely, but Curtis, I'm going to head off, but I wanted to ask you a question before I head off. Because
sure, brother.
During the off season, old Bullygate came back up, and it came out to where it was just all it was basically a lie, is what they were saying.
Yeah,
I don't
hustle.
know if I don't know if you touched on this. You probably did, and I just didn't see it. But what were your thoughts on that?
Oh,
Because it was portrayed as such a like
well, to me,
Jonathan Martin was
yeah,
bullied and
it just shows you that really the media now is really not the fourth estate. Dundee Dolphin, he was like a BBC guy. We talk about him all the time. I really believe that journalism and the media is so critical in free societies. And I'm not saying it's been this or it's been that, just in the very understanding that you must have free and serious press, journalism to critique and to challenge the powers that be's feet to the fire. Without it, the founding fathers who set up America understood that free speech was like the central part of anything, because if ideas can't be tested, if ideas can't be put out there freely into the public sphere to allow people to see and choose and go down the aisle and shop for what they want, to come to their own conclusions, then they would never be free, and they would never have an honest handling with those in power, because those in power only care about power and success. And so you must have free and clear journalism. And so the fact that I don't know how many, 10 years or whatever it is later, that Omar Kelly comes out and says, yeah, well, we just kind of knew we were telling lies and fed it to you. And this was bigger than Bullygate, because this basically said that you can no longer put carte blanche trust in the beats in the media, that they can be sold, they can be plied, they can be forced the direction of those in power, whatever that power is, whether it's the power of public opinion, you have to say certain things and act certain ways, or whether it's the NFL, whether it's your editor-in-chief, whether it's the team, whatever you want to say. Basically, we've come to understand that sports journalism is not journalism. It's tabloidism. That's what it really came down to. And you could have got past that if journalists actually came out and tested the understanding that he came out and said we published lies. But it wasn't even broached. It wasn't even discussed. It wasn't even a topic. And so it amplified and was even doubled down, or maybe even worse than the initial problem, because you're 10 years removed or whatever it is, and you're getting the same thing. The journalists don't even come out and say, whoa, this is serious. Yeah, it is only sports, but you've got to have, it's not journalism. And so to me, goes back to what I said with the suit hustle and how the Dolphins media lied to us and they ply certain people. I don't know who the whys and wheres, but I know it's done. It was clearly right there. And the fact that nobody in major media came out and said, journalists whose sole job, if you go check with journalism, the number one thing is to serve honestly the public. And that was broken. It was fractured. It was destroyed. And then the people today that are supposed to be journalists don't even say, hey, that's the number one credo, the number one rule, the number one law of journalism. And he came out and said that he broke it, and nobody's questioning anything. So we are in a worse state, because you can come out and say, I totally lied. And everyone will be like, oh, okay. Hey, fat Tua. And that's it.
Yeah.
So it's disastrous. You can't trust anything. It's not that you can't trust them. It's trust but verify. But people always say, well, this guy's just a YouTuber. Okay, but so at this stage, I have as much credibility as they do. Yeah. And I can't be plied by the powers that be, because I'm a nobody, and nobody's telling me. So maybe I'm more honest. Maybe I'm not as accurate. I don't know. Maybe I am. But certainly my credentials, I've stood by what I said, and there's others out there. It's not just me. But these little YouTube guys, they're not under the thumb. So I don't know. I think it's terrible.
Yeah,
I think
that
it's
was interesting.
disastrous. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a psyop. It's all psyops. Bernays. Go and check with Edward Bernays. All media, the big idea. You too. Media, the big idea. It's all mind control. But you know what? They don't control your mind. Are you studying out these things? Are you trying to have a free mind? Are you putting in the work to be a free thinker? And so it goes into a much deeper level. This is just sports. And these are just sports journalists, but it is a symptom of a greater understanding, a greater reality that everything it's all staged. It's all hyped and altered. And not to say nothing's true, but everything is. That's why you have all these guys. Oh, I just killed. Hello, Tony. I just killed 5 people. I'm a famous actor. Well, we're going to get on it right now. We're going to. The first thing you need to come out and say you're sorry. They have all these media massagers. They all understand. They have psychological analytics. They do all this stuff, and so you have to understand it. It's all this whole Tua thing, hating Tua and loving Tua. It's all been created to push forward these easy clicks. It's all designed. So, yeah, that's right. I know I'm the conspiracy guy, but that was a great movie. I watched it the other night with a couple of weeks ago with my wife. She loved it. So let's get back to football. Yeah, we haven't had a decent. So anyway, D, I know you want to get out of here. Sorry about that. I slipped gears.
Nope, no worries.
Into my studies and started talking some crazy stuff. So I had to get back on it. But D, thank you for coming by. You're always welcome. I appreciate everything.
Nice meeting you, McD.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Be good,
Thank you,
brother.
man. Have a good
See you soon.
night, guys. Go Dolphins.
100%. I'm sorry, I was reading the thing.
No, Curtis, I got a question about that. If you want to
Freud's
keep
nephew.
about
He's Freud's nephew. That's totally true. You could look at the suffragette movement. He totally controlled the suffragette movement. Totally, everything you've been told about, everything is pretty much fictitious. It's
well, what do you think about the whole setup, though? I know why Omar said what he said. We were told to report lies. He's getting all access. He's in the good gracious of the team. They're probably giving him lobster meals with the team. Like Omar's getting the all the benefits of being a beat reporter for Miami, who's on the good side of the Dolphins. Like, what's it like for a beat reporter who's on the bad side of the Dolphins? And can you even do your job? Like, I understand that maybe it's career suicide at this point, the way it's set up. That if you really are a high-end beat writer and you have access to this
100%.
team and these players, and you decide to go, you know what, I'm gonna whistle blow and tell the truth here, is that career suicide? And if that is the case, then you really just have to take every beat writer's word, at half value right there.
Well, you should, but the reality is that you should take everybody's. See, that's the biggest problem. So I'm gonna get off. So the educational system is all about route memorization. It was designed by Freudianists and industrialists to create better consumers and better workers. It wasn't designed for free thinking. That's why you have multiple choice. That's why you have Pavlov's dog. He rings the bell and all of a sudden the dog salivates. Why do you think there's bells to go from class to class? This has all been pre-designed to create lack of critical thinking, lack of independent thinking, lack understanding of, hey, let's have a little Missouri in me. I got to see it. Trust but verify. You should even me. I always say that. That's why I say all the time, question me. Don't believe everything I say. If you got a different point of view, because you've got to. That's why I didn't go into teaching. I was from New York, and the number one teacher in New York, I think it was 2 or 3 years running, he just abruptly quit his position. He said, I can no longer continue. I can't remember his name now, but he was somebody I really respected. He said, I can no longer continue to put students through the canner. And I looked at the educational system, and I was doing a huge dissertation understanding that using Mary Shelley's Frankenstein as a educational dissertation on modern education. And I just said, I can't do it either. And so we all have to question. We have to question our politicians. We have to question the people we hear from. We have to question the people that we see on YouTube. We have to question ourselves perpetually, because without questioning, you can never come to the truth. You have to perpetually, it's the scientific method. This is why I love journalism. The scientific method and journalism run parallel. Continually questioning, continually grinding, continually never saying you've arrived, because new evidence can change things. It's the beauty of journalism. It's the beauty of science. And it's why people must perpetually question everything, not to the point of paranoia or insanity, but you continually run it through the grinder. You add new information. You listen to people you don't agree with. You listen to people you agree with. You store and you come to your gestalt. And we don't do that. And that's why we have a society of sheep, and they understand that. All these people, this is why you have the vehicles of momentum through journalism that we have, especially in sports. And if you notice, the fandom has been taken to the public, to the different factions and the parties and the different groups and the different religions. It's all the same thing. It goes back to Caesar. Divide and conquer during his time in Spain against the Gauls. It's the tried and true formula. It's just a repetitive concept that's been refined ultimately to Bernays and then disseminated through the optics through digital media. And I can go on for a while, but I want to, because I'm probably taking this way off the rails. Anyway,
I mean, I do. Sorry, Chris.
No,
I just want to say real quick, like me wanting to get in a talk with you guys, like it's been about like maybe it's been like 8 months now, 7 months. But when you guys started talking about this, like in the summertime last year or before the season started, that's what made me like really think like, oh man, like I have to get on, I have to talk to, like these guys, because I do know or feel like, okay, how you're saying, like it's just a game. It's just the Dolphins. Who cares? But it's like we think it's so stupid, because like even my wife, she like, I get mad, like when we lose, I get mad, and it's like why am I gonna get so mad when none of those players on that team care about me or anybody from that city or anything like that? But as you go back into fandom, but you and I think we all really appreciate it, and want to keep you around because you do read every single comment, and it does turn into like this philosophical thing where it's like, okay, I remember 10 years ago when Bullygate happened, and I called into my local radio station, and it was a thing where I still remember, even though it was so long ago, but it was a thing where, why is this happening? Why only the Dolphins could do something this so dumb? Like that was my first initial thought about it. But then as it came out 10 years later, even as the years have gone by, it's been one thing after another, after another, and after another, and after another. And it's like, even with how I had brought it up earlier about the NFL taking away that pick from us, and like, I even put a story on my IG, and I was like, the league hates us. The league hates the Dolphins. But I mean, we shoot ourselves in the foot. It's been 15, 20, 25 years of just the same, like, okay, Bullygate. Okay, Ross on the boat with trying to recruit Brady and the coach. His name is escaping me. Sean Payton. And then the rebuild, and the pick's not going good. It's just it snowballs and keeps snowballing. It's like, how could it's really good that we can really you go and you turn on ESPN or Fox, and whoever is going to talk about the team, and like even some of the beat writers, and I've asked you, I'm like, do you trust any of them? And you're like, I really don't, or because it's just it's a fabrication of, as you're saying, of things. I mean, I don't mean to get too much off topic, but I mean, hearing guys like you and Doug, and we all listen to each other all the time, but I do think that everyone should be valued in everyone's comments, whether if it's different around like you do take everyone's voice into account, and that's great. That's great that we do that on this channel.
Well, for me, I'm greedy, dude. You don't understand. Everyone's comment is an opportunity for me to learn and test things, and for me to get better. And I mean, it's a respect factor too, because if you're going to offer your time to me, I just feel obligated, But there's also, I never know when there's a kernel of knowledge there. There's something that can fix me to be better. So I'm greedy like that. So, I just think that everyone, even if somebody totally disagrees with me and they're wrong, I test it. And so there's a rep, there's a mental rep there that I'm leaving on the table, and I hate that. I just want to take Mike Favre, get back to football quick. The O-line with that 1 year, 2016. If you go back, it really wasn't that good. We had 2 games against the Bills was 200 yards. We ran outside zone and we ripped them apart for major yards. And we had one, I think it was Pittsburgh. And there's like maybe 1 or 2, but we really were not consistent. Tunsil was the guard. He wasn't very good. He was on the ground a lot. And we had Bushrod, who wasn't that good. A lot of it really was like almost, what was it, 2 years ago when we had in 23, we had a couple of big games and then it kind of crashed. It was very similar. We were able to victimize certain teams, Bills especially. We put up like almost 500 yards against them. But overall, it wasn't that hot. And you could see how we were kind of exposed against Pittsburgh. Although Pouncey was, I think, injured for that game and stuff. We haven't had a good offensive line in a real long time. I guess what I got schizo. Yeah, no. So I can't help it, man. I study this stuff all the time for like 20 years now, and I start saying crazy stuff. So shut up. All I hear in my head is Curtis. Shut up.
Every time I read that guy's name, I think of DeWalt. I can't help it. I'm a DeWalt tool guy, so that DeWalt, that looks like DeWalt to me. So there's
a famous video game, Deuce X or something.
I don't know.
Deus Ex.
Yeah. I keep going. I'm sorry, Cody. Keep going.
No, I just see that guy's name, and I'm a DeWalt guy. So every time I see it, I just see DeWalt. DeWalt tools, man. My favorite.
Dundee's a big-time guy. So you make choices about who you trust based upon their reporting, but the primary incentivizers of beat reporters are their employers, not the team, though there's interrelationship. Yeah.
But what about the consequences? Because if Omar says I had to report a lie, who told him? His company? His company said don't start a riff with the Dolphins,
or the NFL.
Who's saying that,
Or the NFL.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want the truth, and I'll listen to as many people as I have to and form my own opinion based on all of that. So
yeah, it's not like they're told to do it. Just just like anything else, that there's certain easier roads, and you could see certain guys with tenure like a Hyde. I can't believe that Dave Hyde came out the other day and said Grier is the Eichenberg of GMs. That's a bomb.
Shots fired.
You're not going to get your average. That's a guy with huge tenure. Armando Salguero. Clearly, you don't want to get on the wrong side of the team. There's obviously, there is a sort of a certain code and a certain way of doing things. I'm sure it's implied, not always, because I remember team coverage from years ago was different than it is today. It's a lot more friendly. It's a lot, but who knows? Who knows what the deal is? But I wonder who told him. Why did he lie? That was never broke. How's that never even discussed?
Let's ask him. Let's ask him, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I went off the rails. I went schizo. Let's get out of here. A second. You don't get to be a beat writer by shitting where you eat. Yeah. Well, that's not. Unfortunately, you did in the past. The sports writers in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s could be very
antagonistic.
Yeah. Totally
pissing off coach.
Sports media has totally changed. It's come more of pushing certain things, and I don't know about every area. I'm just saying with the Dolphins. But that's not journalism. That's something, but it's not really journalism. It's not sports journalism.
That's entertainment.
So, yeah. So, how's it? How's it? One last one. Lime Tree. OMG, for the longest time, Dolphins chatters I found on YouTube were either serial Dolphin haters or more concerned with gambling. Yeah, well, it's look, it's one of the big problems with me is I could never ever do this if it wasn't for my sponsors. I just wouldn't have the time. I'd have to work full time. So you get, younger guys that come do this thing. You don't make any money. All the podcasts I do, I think in a year I make them $2,000. Everything that I've ever done for an entire year, it's like $2,000. YouTube pays nothing. And so, you get some young guy and he's starting to make money. He wants to make money, or he's an older guy. And he's like, for me, if my sponsors get rid of me, how can I possibly do this? $2,000 a year, putting 60, 70 hours a week. It's not happening. So it's a very, very difficult course to travel. It really is. You could sit here and I could do this thing and just sit here and talk. But the amount of effort and research and film study, there's no way I could give it what I give it without making some money. So it's very difficult. It's a very, very difficult. I understand why certain people do the hype train or the hopium train, because honestly, it's just a lot easier clicks. It's a lot easier clicks. So anyway, guys, I appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate everybody coming on with me. Cody, Abel, Dirk, Captain D. Guys, all be well. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I really, really do enjoy this. Hopefully I keep it going. We'll see. But guys, go Fins, Curtis, Cody, and Abel out.